Everybody in the chat, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the daily live stream. Do me a favor, guys. As you come in, hit that like button for me. Say where you are watching from. Just be interactive in the chat with me. You guys are pretty good with following rules of the chat, so I just ask that you be respectful, be cordial, keep your responses short, don't flag the AI mod. I also ask that you do not disrespect subs, supporters, moderators. That's the only thing that will get you blocked and or censored in the chat. Other than that, welcome to the daily live stream, guys. Got some great clips for us tonight. Starting with some fun things. So first up, we're going to start off with Truth Be Told. Shout out to him. Prophetic arrival of something beyond human understanding, right? We'll say human nature, but he covered this just I think a day or two ago, but I wanted to show it to you guys. I just put something else in front of it. So let's start the live stream off with a Christian clip. And then we'll jump right into the clip. We're going to start off with Candace Owens after that, and then just kind of go into the news clips after that. So shout out to you guys. Let's jump right in.
They're comparing this to the second coming of Christ, but instead of saying it's the second coming, they're saying it's the arrival of something humanity has never seen before. Because for the very first time in human history, we are staring at an intelligence that doesn't need us, it doesn't grow old, it doesn't forget, and it doesn't sleep. And the most powerful minds on the planet right now are saying that we're crossing into a threshold like a black hole in space, where once you cross through that event horizon, you don't know what's on the other side at all. So this isn't about panic. I want to share with you some videos and some articles that are current right now, because this is about prophetic clarity. I mean, that's what it's about. Because truth matters the most, and deception doesn't knock, it shows up as progress. And I believe that's what's going on. So let's get into this, hit that like button, let's reach as many people as we can as always, and I look forward to getting into this with you. Here we go. Elon Musk.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, there's sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. The smartest creatures, as far as you know, on this earth are humans, is our defining character. Now, what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's called the singularity. It's a singularity like a black hole, because you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict.
If you have this fatalistic attitude and you feel like it's going, we're in almost like a doomsday countdown.
It's not necessarily a doomsday countdown. It's a
out of control countdown.
Out of control, yeah. People call it the singularity, and that's probably a good way to think about it. It's a singularity. It's hard to predict, like a black hole, what happens past the event horizon.
Right. So once it's implemented, it's very different, because it will
once
be able to.
Once the genie's out of the bottle, what's going to happen?
And it will be able to improve itself.
Yes.
That's where it gets spooky, right? The idea that it can do thousands of years of innovation very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then we'll be just ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
You gotta love how, like, one-worded Elon Musk is. He's like that so often when people are talking to him. So many people try to drag him deeper and get him to, like, articulate himself more and go deeper, and he just doesn't do it. It cracks me up every time.
Hello, I'm Rifki Green from Lev Havalam, and I am standing in the...
What do you think? Like I read recently that there was a man that did coding. He does coding, and he was using AI for coding just over Christmas break. And he said that he got 10 years worth of coding done in just a few weeks. And did you catch what they were saying? They're not talking about something that's evil. They're saying it's uncontrollable. They're talking about something that once it's released, like a genie out of a bottle, you cannot put it back. And here's where it gets serious, because just in the last few days, I mean, this is current news. Some of the most influential technology creators have stopped saying that it's coming, and they're saying the time is now. 2026 is the year. So before we react to it, let's look here at what Elon and other tech experts are actually saying in some articles. All right, I want to pull that up for you. Right here. first article I want to go over with you is this one here. It says that Elon Musk says, "We have entered the singularity, declaring this the year AI becomes smarter than humans, and everything changes forever." So in the article it says Elon didn't say we're getting close. He said we're already here. We've entered it. In two separate posts on X, he says we have entered the singularity. I mean, I don't think he's just saying that. Like, he wouldn't just put that out there unless he knew something that maybe we didn't know. Hours later, he followed it up with a second post. 2026 is the year of the singularity. Both were in response to engineers marveling at what AI tools can do now, cranking out years of work and reshaping how software is built. I mean, they're doing years of work in weeks. Fascinating. So what is this singularity? What are they talking about? We kind of heard it in the video, but let's check out what the article says. The singularity isn't something must tossed around and flare. It's a long-standing concept in tech and science fiction that refers to the moment when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence and begins improving itself. And once that happens, the idea goes, the pace of innovation explodes beyond human control. At that point, the future becomes less a straight line and more like a rocket, fast, unpredictable, and fundamentally altered. I mean, like, I just can't imagine, like, once this thing becomes somewhat aware and it starts to improve itself.
And it's funny because so often has Sam Altman been interviewed and we've caught him saying things like, yeah, this is what worries me about AI. This is what terrifies me about AI. This is what scares me about AI. This is literally the CEO of OpenAI. This is the creator of OpenAI. And he's telling us what terrifies him about AI, what scares him about AI. And we don't even pay it any mind. I've always thought that was just hilarious that we're not paying attention to what the creator of it is saying.
It can take itself in any direction it wants for any reason. It's AI created in the image of man, not God. And I wonder what's going to happen. You know, this isn't a prediction, it's a warning about the future. It's a declaration in the present tense that we're already here. And so, you know, AI and the singularity, it's not about smarter tools. It's about intelligence that exceeds humanity and no longer needs human direction. It creates it on its own. I mean, this is unbelievable. And this idea of the singularity dates back even to the 50s. With a man named John von Neumann talked about it. Werner Vinge, he expanded on the 80s and 90s, predicting that once machines become smarter than humans, we'd lose the ability to meaningful forecast what happens next. We don't even know. I mean, that's a quiet but massive admission that once this threshold is crossed, even people building it admit they no longer know what is going to happen next. And it keeps going. Listen to this part. Musk isn't putting it decades away. He's saying it's already here. We're not waiting until 2045. It's happening now. And there was another part in here.
It's crazy because to me it sounds like the modern day Tower of Babel. If you know, you know. You guys go read that in the Bible. But it's crazy, like, especially the way James is saying they don't know what's going to happen. Like, they're saying that they want to build this thing and they want to create it, but it's just a black hole after that. They have no idea what comes next.
Here that I wanted to share with you. AI tools are becoming insanely powerful. And this is the part here where it says it's not just about code. Musk has been building towards this moment across platforms. In 2025, he said, and I made a video on this, he predicted that AI and robotics would eventually make traditional work optional and money would disappear as a concept. I mean, this is where the article stops being theoretical. I mean, he's making a prediction. A world where value is no longer tied to your work, where systems replace your labor, and dependence shifts away from human effort, and we become more and more useless. I mean, we're just going to turn into being some kind of consumers, and this is like a dystopian future. And in a minute, I want to share with you some scripture that go along with this. Please stay with me. Because that's not the end of the story. We might say, well, that's an economic disruption, you know, that's kind of strange, but the second article goes much farther into territory that feels, well, prophetic. Check this out. another article by Forbes titled 2026 Singularity Must Comment Backed by Real Stuff. Okay, we're not in fringe views here. We're talking about what's really going on, and that is why I'm trying to share this with you now. Okay? Now, the first thing that they bring up is kind of apocalyptic language, talking about the second coming. Let's see. Well, it says, Elon Musk tweeted simply in 7 words, 2026 is the year of the singularity. In years past, he's been vocal about the risk of AI, warning that all this could go somewhere very much ungood, saying that there's a 20% chance that AI could go bad. I mean, that's not coming from critics, that's coming from the people that are building it. It's a 1 in 5 chance.
Bro, this is crazy what he's reading. Like, it literally says, and wreak havoc on humanity. Like, I'm thinking to myself, do these people even understand what they're actually reading about this stuff?
Of catastrophic failure, and they're still moving forward. And really, if the scripture is true, which I know it is going to go bad. Something huge is coming. Is 2026 going to be the year? It says also in here, because they were talking about the second coming. I don't know if I skipped that or not. Well, it might show up in here. I know it was in this article. Maybe it's the other one. But they were talking about the second coming, but it's not a second coming. It's the arrival of something that humanity's never seen before. It's loaded with apocalyptic language that, we are entering a time where some being that I would say has godlike properties, honestly. Not God, of course. There's only one God, one true God. But if you think about it, Satan, who does he want to be like? The Bible says he wants to ascend the Most High. He wants to ascend the hill of God. He wants to be like God. It's his pride that led to his fall. And here we are creating something that has all this knowledge and all this vision, infiltrating all technology and becoming way vast more superior than any human. In fact, they say that it'll surpass the intelligence of the entire human race at once. It's unbelievable. And again, he's not the only one saying it either. Okay? Musk is far from the only one ringing these bells, talking about a piece in Popular Mechanic. And let's see here. Sam Altman. What's his name? I can't say this guy's name. Kobayashi. Sam Altman, there's all kinds of people that are predicting this. I mean, this article, bottom line, is just filled with people that are saying what is going on, what's going to happen is not a good thing. I got Eric Schmidt, Mayoshi Son, Sam Altman, many futurists and ethicists. This isn't like a fringe thing. This is a worldview that's happening that we're approaching. And one of the weird things about this is they're also talking about blurring the lines between humans and AI boundaries, where they're going to begin to plug us in and, things like Neuralink and these implantables into maybe your head or hand, right, that will merge us with technology. This is like...
All right, so I don't want to take away from Jeremiah's due views. You guys go over to his channel, Truth Be Told. Shout out to him and check out the rest of that. We're going to move on to the first clip of the live stream now. Marco Rubio, presidential of Cuba memes. These are... I don't know if they're actually going to show some memes. I didn't get a chance to watch the clip in its entirety. I just know that there's been a couple of hilarious jokes and some memes going around about Marco Rubio being the president of Cuba. This is hilarious to me, because just in this oil execs meeting that they had where Marco Rubio was sitting next to Trump like makes this kind of remark about Cuba and the people being great there, Marco Rubio being an example of that, and then he kind of like gives him the mic to talk. So I just thought it was hilarious that now these memes are coming out after President Trump said that. So let's take a listen.
If I'd known there was a suction cup corner shelf like this earlier, all my bath products wouldn't have been piled on the floor. Cleaning would have...
All right, so shout out to First Post. They're the ones who covered this. Let's take a listen.
The year was 1956. Mario and Rubio had just fled Cuba. They set up a home in Miami, in the U.S. state of Florida. In 1971, they had a son named Marco Antonio Rubio. As a child, Rubio heard stories from his grandfather, stories about Cuba and its revolutionaries. In 2012, he even wrote about it in his book, An American Son. He said, and I'm quoting, I boasted I would someday lead an army of exiles to overthrow Fidel Castro and become president of a free Cuba. President of a free Cuba. That was Marco Rubio's dream. 14 years later, he is the U.S. Secretary of State, and his dream of becoming the president of Cuba, well, it doesn't look like wishful thinking anymore. And why do I say that? Well, look at this post by Donald Trump. This is on Truth Social. A random user suggested that Marco Rubio could be the president of Cuba if the government falls, and Trump reposted it with a comment. Sounds good to me. That's what the US president said. Sounds good to me. Looks like the beginning of a budding romance, which is surprising.
My God, that's ridiculous that Trump said that. I'm not surprised, though.
There was a time when Trump called Rubio Little Marco. Now he's rooting for him. Of course, this is not literal. What Trump means here, or so we hope, is that Marco Rubio could decide Cuba's future. And we say this because there's a backstory. Last week, the U.S. military struck Venezuela. They captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and brought him to the U.S. It was a daring operation, and Marco Rubio played a central role in it. With his Latin American heritage, he was key to the Venezuelan operation. And now he has his eyes on another country, the homeland of his parents, Cuba.
Suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile but incompetent nonetheless. That has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, the whole spy agency, all that was full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems Venezuelans have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least.
So, President of Free Cuba. That may be a meme for now, but there's another presidency that could be within Marco Rubio's reach. The U.S. presidency. I know it's still too early. The next presidential election in the United States will happen only in 2028, and the Republican Party does not have a face yet. Since this is Donald Trump's second term in office, he cannot run for the third time. So they need someone new. Until now, all eyes were on Vice President J.D. Vance. He was seen as a likely successor, but now there's a new name in the fray, Marco Rubio. Reports suggest his name is being discussed in the Republican circles. So can Marco Rubio run in 20?
Yeah, I'm not shocked about that. I'm not asked that all the time in a live chat because I want to know if you guys see Marco as president. Sometimes I say I can see him more as vice president than president. But I guess if I'm honest and I'm comparing him to J.D. Vance, it's like, why can't he be president, right? So what do you guys think about Marco Rubio for presidential candidate 2028? I'm going to go to another clip that's still talking more about him being the president of Cuba. It's crazy because President Trump endorsed this. That's why I say, so in the future, if Marco ever actually thinks about doing this is going to be hilarious. So let's take a listen.
You're going to feel your life change forever. Just kidding. One gummy, you're going to feel chill and mellow. Two gummies, you'll feel you.
All right, shout out to Sky News Australia. They covered this. Shout out to them.
Exactly. While we're talking about standards, Donald Trump, of course, is setting a standard over in the US at the moment. Gee, hasn't he been going hell for leather in the last few days? He's now saying, last few weeks, I should say, he is now saying that Cuba will not be getting any oil from Venezuela because they were the major supplier, of course, of oil to Cuba, and Trump has now taken over the joint. So he says unless Cuba comes on board and does a deal with the US, we don't actually know what that means. He's just said do a deal, so we'll see what happens in the future. But unless you do a deal with the US, there will be no more oil for you. You can imagine how the communist country of Cuba has responded to that. And so Donald Trump has now suggested that maybe the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, could be sent in to run the joint. Someone suggested this on his Truth Social platform, and Trump said in response, "Sounds good to me." So God knows what might happen in the next couple of weeks. He's gone after Venezuela, maybe he'll go after Cuba next. But it's interesting now. Well, it's obvious why he has done this, and Trump has not hidden that it gives him global leverage to have control of all those resources in Venezuela, and he's starting to do with it what he wanted to do.
Well, and we've got to remember that Cuba and Venezuela are very closely aligned. There were around 32 Cubans that were actually killed when Carter they went in to get the Venezuelan president. So there was armed forces and security and intelligence people there from Cuba. So there's a very close relationship between Cuba and Venezuela. I don't know if we've got the meme, but there was a great one going around last week of Marco Rubio, and he sort of had this quite dejected look on his face, but it said that feeling you get when you realise you could be the president of Venezuela, the governor of Cuba, and the new Shah of Iran. But it's certainly very, very busy on the geopolitical front. Marco Rubio seems to be being put forward as the name that can save it all. So he may have more jobs than he knows what to do with soon. But I think, we're seeing some really interesting times that are happening, and Cuba has been a real thorn in the side. The Americans, when you go back to the Cuban Missile Crisis and Kennedy's days, you just never know where this could end up with Trump.
And attacking the US is a very 1950s play, isn't it? It's all the bad guys, America, it's all their fault type thing. Whereas, we're talking about a regime that's survived on subsidies and favours for so many years, and Trump's just gone, no more.
The one thing I do like about Cuba, not many things I like about Cuba, but necessity is the mother of invention, and the fact they've kept all those 1950s Chevys and Cadillacs and things alive is pretty extraordinary. Couldn't build a car today, I don't think, that would be able to survive and be repaired ad infinitum like that. You mentioned Iran, though, of course, that's the other big story that's been going on in the last few days. These protests that you would have seen in Iran, they want to overturn the Ayatollah, of course, highly unlikely, but it is good to see a groundswell of people in Iran saying we don't want to live under this Islamic dictatorship anymore. But of course the regime has now responded not in kind. They have responded heavily. They cut off the internet so people couldn't get anything out of Iran on the weekend. We're only getting dribs and drabs of videos that are somehow making their way out of the country. 500 protesters have been killed. They're threatening people with the death penalty if they...
First of all of that's insane. Threatening people with the death penalty. 500 people have been killed. What else? What is going on in Iran? I mean, I shouldn't be shocked, but that's literally insane. Hold on.
Protest and we're only getting dribs has now responded not in kind. They have responded heavily. They cut off the internet so people couldn't get anything out of Iran.
Yeah, that part. I was like, what? They cut off the internet. That's what? Oh my goodness.
On the weekend, we're only getting dribs and drabs of videos that are somehow making their way out of the country. 500 protesters have been killed. They're threatening people with the death penalty if they protest, and Donald Trump is not sitting back. We may have to act, presumably, is a threat of physical action orders.
I think so. I don't think he's going to pull any punches on doing that either. Obviously, we'd rather not, but I think in this situation, Iran has crossed every conceivable red line and has done so on many occasions. And I think what's different and what's interesting to watch is these protests are massive. It's the biggest protest they've ever had. So clearly, he's emboldened to take the action which the rest of the Western world wants him to do.
And you have to think too how the Shah of Iran is really a dictator in the way the treatment of women and what's been allowed to occur under this regime. But there's no protest for the 500 Iranians who were believed to have been shot over the weekend, and that these professional protesters we have out there supporting Palestine every weekend don't seem to have the same care or concern about the Iranian people and whether or not they will be freed from this dictatorial regime?
Indeed, the Iranian Crown Prince has had some thoughts on all of this.
Your words of solidarity with the Iranian people and your administration has had tremendous positive effect. Let's hope that we can permanently seal this legacy by liberating Iran so that we and you can make Iran great again. Let's partner on this and have a better future for our countries and for our people.
Make Iran great again.
Isn't it fabulous?
How good is that? It's amazing when you look at Iran before the regime took over. Women in miniskirts.
I know.
Studying
at university.
It's freedoms.
We take granted.
I know. It is incredible to think what has been done to that country. And those men and women who are standing up in Iran and protesting, literally putting their lives on the line to fight for freedom, they are brave people. They are seriously brave people. And of course it would be impossible to get anyone out of Iran at the moment, but if there was any way to get them out, I'd say they're exactly the sort of people I want in my country right now.
And that's why I say insane, more so for reaction reasons. It's not shocking to me. I tell you guys all of the time, like in America, we don't realize just how free we are. There's plenty of countries that if you protest or you speak against, the world leader, that you're going to get pretty much crucified. You're going to get executed. That's not uncommon in other places. It's here in the U.S. where you can call your president stupid and you can make fun of his wife and you can make fun of the vice president's wife and you can kind of get away with stuff like that. In other countries, like, you'd easily be executed, if not thrown in jail at the very least.
Because they will fight to the death to get the rights that they deserve.
This is a mechanical folding slingshot gun. Not just a simple slingshot that can instantly turn you into a sharpshooter with rifle-level accuracy.
Where should we begin? War everywhere? That's just what we're doing. It definitely seems like land grab everywhere. And it doesn't seem like it. That's what's happening. So many people, oh my gosh, you won't believe what these radicals are doing. And of course, it just seems to be that whenever Bibi Netanyahu's around the corner, like, hey, I want that piece of land, suddenly our media starts telling us, hey, you wouldn't believe how free these people are trying to get in Iran. These people are really, we need to free the Iranians. Oh, they've been living in oppression. Bibi's over here like, ooh, land. Oh, no, really? It's about spreading democracy. Code word, that's military code word for dropping bombs and stealing a bunch of stuff that isn't ours, a bunch of land that isn't ours. Anyways, war with Iran is now back on the table firmly. Why? Because, Israel wants it. I find it so funny when people make the argument, well, you wouldn't want to live in this country in the Middle East. You wouldn't want to live in Iraq. Obviously, the West is the best. Yeah, do you want to know why we wouldn't want to live there? I want to live in Libya. I want to live in Iraq. Because we bombed them. We didn't stop bombing them. We bombed them pretty much into the actual dark ages. That's the goal of these things, is to make it so these people can't live ahead and live in poverty. So yeah, no, you're right. I wouldn't want to live there because neocons insist on bombing and taking these countries' resources and controlling them therein.
To the people of Iran, we stand with you tonight. We stand for you, taking back your country from the Ayatollah, religious Nazi, who kills you and terrorizes the world. We pray for you. We support you. Donald J. Trump is not Barack Obama. He has your back. And to the Ayatollahs, you need to understand, if you keep killing your people who are demanding a better life, Donald J. Trump is going to kill you.
Every time you see that guy. Every time you see that guy on TV, it really just reminds you of, like, getting pulled over for DUI with your drunk girlfriend in the passenger seat, spraying the cop.
You can't do this! Take your hands off him! He's gonna beat you up!
Lindsey Graham really is the drunk girlfriend. Picking fights he'll never have to participate in.
We're gonna kill you!
Settle down, son.
He is so correct with that analogy. That is exactly who he is. But I think he's got tears in his eyes. I think they called him like, we were going to release the file right now and everyone's going to see what you did. And he was like,
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting that was his reaction. It's like so many people are claiming to be innocent, and then the minute that they get a hint that some type of file is going to be released with their name in it, they immediately just break down. So I just thought that it was hilarious that Candace caught that, and she used Tucker's reaction to it as well. So shout out to Tucker Carlson and Candace. All right, guys, let's move over to Nick Fuentes talking about Trump's scandal.
Where should we begin? War every...
The Chinese government to the CCP?
I'm getting psychoanalyzed. I'm getting people like Megyn Kelly.
All right, shout out to Iron Descent, channel favorite. We react to him often here. Nick Fuentes is talking about Megyn Kelly and how he feels like some of Trump's involvement with Israel is a scandal. Let's take a listen.
He goes, these young men, why do they like him? It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm literally shaking. He hunted down Ben Shapiro in a video game.
People are not offended by that. People are offended by this. The U.S. ambassador works for Israel. He's meeting with a traitor. This is a scandal. This is a shock and a scandal. It's an insult. It's a humiliation. And it's not a mistake. The White House is backing them up. Trump appointed this person, knowing what he is. And it's being covered up. There'll be no accountability and no consequences because this is systemic. This is a systemic problem. It's humiliating. It's insulting. We're the greatest and most powerful country, and yet we're being held hostage. Like, I didn't come to that conclusion because I'm a bitter and angry and sick person. I just read what they write. I watch the news. I pay attention. This is bullshit. Everyone agrees. I'm not a hateful guy. I'm not a cruel guy. I don't want to commit a Holocaust. I don't want to round everybody up and hurt them. I just want this to stop.
Our health deserves more than guesswork. At Prenuvo, our whole body MRI scans for hundreds.
I want our independence. I want our sovereignty. And we're just taking it to its logical conclusion, which is these oligarchs and other individuals, they use their position and their resources to help their country at our expense. And that's got to stop. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to take away your rights. But if you're not loyal to America, yet you have power over America, that's a problem. If we were infiltrated by any other country, you would feel the same way. If a Chinese billionaire was selling us out to Beijing, we would feel the same way.
Yeah, and if a Chinese person was in our government, and he was sending U.S. national defense intelligence, classified intelligence to the Chinese government, to the CCP, he may be executed, right? Jonathan Pollard he was able to flee. Released him from prison. Went to Israel. Look at Douglas Feith, Richard Pearl, Lawrence Franklin. Right? Any other country who's committed a genocide, the UN Commission of Inquiry a couple of months ago confirmed that. The UN Human Rights Council confirmed it. They have a modern apartheid regime. Palestinians have to pay higher taxes. They work for lower wages. They have no ability to unionize. They're not given labor protections. They have curfews on their shelters. Segregated roads in the West Bank. Segregated neighborhoods. They can't own land in Israeli settlements. There's a separation law. Their settlements are defended by barbed wire and electric fences. This is a modern apartheid regime that's committed a genocide. That's a rogue pariah state at war with 8 different countries: Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, Syria, Qatar, Yemen, Gaza, West Bank. 8. What's the 9th front? American media. They're at war with us. And that's coming from Bibi's mouth, the Prime Minister. So a country who has declared war on our media, has a stockpile of nuclear weapons, a clandestine nuclear program that has never was never demanded to allow inspectors within their country to inspect it. No signatory of the NPT has committed a genocide and presides over a modern apartheid state. That type of country would merit a trade embargo, an arms embargo, sanctions, absolutely no foreign aid. But with Israel, because of the Zionist lobby, affluent Jewish donors, the Israel lobby, Zionist oligarchs, it doesn't matter. And billionaires are disproportionate.
This is the reason why Nick gets upset, because everybody knows Nick is Israel first, right? Well, not Israel first. Everybody knows that Nick is America first. So he feels like Trump is Israel first in a sense where it's like, why does this country have so much power over America? Here's what Iron Descent says, right? Because it's Israel, it doesn't matter. Hence the reason why Nick says that, right? If you're not in support of America, but you have power over America, that's a problem.
Jewish people are overrepresented amongst billionaires, amongst the Fortune 500 companies, amongst advanced education degrees, doctoral degrees, PhDs, overrepresented in the academia and the intelligentsia, in STEM field vocations. So they use it to advance the interests of Israel. They see U.S. foreign policy through that lens.
But when I say it about Israel, and it's obviously true, I'm getting psychoanalyzed. I'm getting people like Megyn Kelly. She goes, "These young men, why did they like him? It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm literally shaking. He hunted down Ben Shapiro in a video game." We're being sold America first, and this government is doing it to us. You're putting Israel first. It's hypocritical, it's a betrayal, it's just downright wrong. This is not right. This is bullshit.
And who is Trump going at in the Congress? Rand Paul, Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, although she has now resigned. He went at all the people who were demanding the Epstein files to be released and who opposed our ceaseless foreign aid, our unconditional, immovable foreign aid, unshakable support for Israel. So the people who opposed Trump being Israel first and opposed the Epstein files not being released, that's who he's attacking. The Israel firsters, Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Randy Fine, all these never-Trumpers, they're now claiming to be MAGA. They now purport to be MAGA, and Trump has embraced them.
And it's a real problem. And it's not the first time. It happens again and again. With Mike Waltz, with Mike Huckabee, with Pam Bondi, all these people, that's all they care about. And I'm the only one that seems to be willing to take it there. And all I've been saying for years is, listen, I'm right. I'm right about this. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now, and now they want to tone police, and now they want to say, oh, well, let's not get carried away. We got a long way to go before anybody's carried away. People are starting to draw lines. We got a long way to go before we even approach the line, buddy. Long way to go. It's like America, think about it this way. This problem has been going on for generations. That the ADL has been holding us hostage, that AIPAC has been stealing the elections, that we have been furnishing Israel with all these weapons and support against our will. It's been going on for generations. Okay? And right up until a year ago, you weren't allowed to talk about it at all. You were not allowed to think it, speak it out loud. You weren't allowed to.
So here, Nick might go into some of the things that has happened to him being anti-Israel over the years. Like he's been deplatformed, blocked off of a lot of things, censored off of many things. So he might talk about it a little bit here.
Oppose it, God forbid. And if you did, all these people would cancel you. Benny Johnson, Charlie Kirk, all these douchebags would cancel you. Until last year. Until last year, the same year we got free speech on Twitter, simultaneously everybody realized what's going on with Israel. And it became unignorable and undeniable that people are becoming aware. So, this system has been in place for generations. You people upheld it. In spite of your complicity in this America-last scheme, Americans were awakened. And now, not even a year into it, people want to start to pump the brakes. And they want to say, whoa, let's not get carried away. Carried away? We've only been able to talk about this for a year. Now we're carried away? Last year, if you criticized Israel, you're banned from everything, you're fired, you're radioactive, you're a piece of shit. All of a sudden, we're able to talk about, and now Tucker and Megan and others, they want to come in and say, whoa, time out, let's not go crazy. Okay, we got a long ways to go before anybody's getting crazy. Let's not forget how we got here. We need to turn over the system. We actually need people to get riled up. We need overwhelming pressure because we want this to change. We want an overwhelming, we want the people to revolt, not violently, but we want people to be angry about this, and we want the government to know that.
What is the surprise box from Israel?
It's a monthly subscription box filled with authentic products.
So that it can change, so that it will change. And I'm very suspicious people are coming around and saying, no, don't be mad. Let's just focus on the economy. I think you're taking it out on Israel. Let's just focus on the economy. Let's treat Israel like every other country. Let's just talk about something else. It's like, no, we're not going to. As long as this is going on, this is a giant middle finger to every American.
Yeah, Nick looks at it like as long as he can see that Israel has some type of sway over America, he's not going to stop. He's not going to leave it alone.
American, and it's got to stop because what it reflects is that we're not in control. If this is going on, it means we have no sovereignty. If America is being stabbed in the back by our ally that we're funding, and our ambassador to that country is meeting with the traitors, it means we're not in control. They are. If there's no people like them, they feel free to say they hate America. I can't wait for America to get what it deserves. I'm Israel first, proudly, and what about it? And we're hanging out with these people? That means they're in charge. And why bother? Why have America if we don't have self-government? Is that not what the whole premise is? No taxation without representation? That we're emancipating ourselves to God, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, of, by, for the people. Why even have an America if we're going to be ruled by a Jewish oligarchy working for Israel that is filling this administration with Mike Huckabees and Mike Waltzes that work for the other guys? Seriously? But yeah, don't let me purity spiral. Everything else is going so well outside of this, right? Other than this, it's going really well. Yeah, like these are the just and reasonable demands of the American people. Don't let them gaslight you. Do not let them gaslight you. So, yeah, Jonathan Pollard affair all over again. You literally couldn't make it up. Chuck Schumer condemning me in the Senate. Trump's government meeting with Jonathan Pollard. Like, you literally can't make it up. We bombed Iran. We're meeting with Pollard. Like, they're working for Israel in the National Security Council. Oh, great. Things would be different this time, they said. A golden age for who exactly? A golden age for which people? It's disturbing. You don't want to look at it too long because it's really infuriating.
So is he right to a degree? I think he is. Sticking with Nick, we're going to go over to our Purge Viral. Shout out to him. He covered Nick humiliates Maduro. Let's take a look.
Come around and tell them. And when you look at an intervention in Venezuela, this is in our neighborhood. It comprises a core U.S. interest, which is articulated in the Monroe Doctrine to have no outside influence in our hemisphere. It was quick, it was cheap, and it is not debatably in the interest of the United States. And like I said, we'll lay that out. But I think this is going to be a year of refinement. And we have to lay down the law that this is a right-wing movement. It is an Israel-critical movement. We seek to counter Jewish power and the Jewish oligarchy. but it is a right-wing realist movement. It is a pro-America movement. It is a movement that is not naive about the nature of the world and the nature of other countries. And if you think this is a place where we're going to come around and tell America to get to the back of the line and submit their concerns to the United Nations, and we're going to go and cape and die for the sovereignty of third world countries filled with illiterate peasants that don't even know how to read or write, this is just not the movement for you. Communists, liberals, leftists, that's down the hall to the left. If you're some kind of America hater from some third world country, if you're from Europe, you hate American power, you're threatened by American power, this is not the movement for you. This is a movement for U.S. citizens. This is a movement for Americans. It's a movement for right-wing Americans that want America to have primacy over the entire planet. As much power, as much abundance, as many resources as possible.
My house was broken into while I was at work. The police took a report, and I had to call my agent to file a claim.
So if you're coming around with this nonsense about, they stole the oil, that's not moral. They intervened in another country, you violated their sovereignty. I don't give a shit. I don't care at all. We do it all the time, and we've done it for centuries.
This is where I can appreciate Nick's personality, because some people feel like him. They're just not going to say it. Some people feel like that, and they're just not going to say it. And it's very true. You know, I saw the look on some people's face when I went to work. They look like, hell yeah. Some people really did. I'm just saying.
It's called Manifest Destiny. It's called the Mexican-American War, the Spanish-American War, the Bay of Pigs. We do it all the time. This is our world, and at the minimum, this is our half. This is our half of the world for us to have uncontested, undisputed dominance, military, commercial, naval, every way, shape, and form. And we will take what we are entitled to. We will take what makes us safer, richer, more prosperous. We will take what we want. Nobody can stop us, and we'll do it again, and I hope we do. And I hope we do it in Greenland, and I hope we do it in Panama, and I hope we do it in Cuba, I hope we do it everywhere where it makes sense for us. You got a problem with that? I don't know. Go back to fucking Pakistan. Go back to some other country and complain about it on the internet. Invented by America. So, anyway. I don't know if I want to hear the comments. Botted the dislikes on Telegram award. Pakistanis botted the dislikes on Telegram. It means nothing. We could kidnap your leader too. If it was necessary. Anyway. So, okay, we're already getting started. Well, look, I've been waiting for this. I've been looking forward to this. So, anyway. Leave a comment. I might read it, I might not. I don't really want to hear some other opinions on this. I'm settled.
Yeah, dude, we can see that. Like, wow, Nick has been gone for almost 2 weeks, and this is his comeback already.
Yeah, I can say, like, honestly, there's a lot of people that feel like Nick. They didn't voice it exactly like that, but he is speaking for a good amount of people. He's even speaking for people that don't follow him. That's what's funny. So, I mean, it's very true. You had some people that were very offended by the way President Trump did this. I gotta admit, as a veteran, I have very, very little offense as to how he handled this.
I like it, to be honest. I like his vibe, and this is just the start of the video, can you imagine? But he makes some very good points. I agree with him. The time is over that everyone around the world can make fun about our country. The sleeping giant called the United States of America is finally waking up. With 4 years of the Biden administration, everyone was making fun about us. Not anymore. Times are changing. America first and Americans first. And this is very important. So everyone, get used to it. We're becoming more powerful now. And Nick is going to explain exactly why, and he's going to share his thoughts and opinions about Venezuela as well. This is going to be a very interesting video, maybe one of the most important videos of this year already. And this is just his first video of 2026. So let's dive into it. This is going to be a very interesting video.
We're going to talk all about Venezuela. So for starters, let's talk about, here we go. This is the comprehensive geopolitical breakdown on Venezuela. Send it to your friends, whoever. This is everything you need to know. I've done a ton of research on this. I've talked about it for months. And now the time has finally arrived. So first, let's actually talk about this operation and what happened. 2 weeks ago, after a major U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean on the coast of Venezuela, finally the United States launched a major airstrike involving over 150 aircraft to take out anti-aircraft systems on the ground in Venezuela. Then, helicopters moved in, U.S. soldiers rappelled down into the fortified compound of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. They encountered heavy resistance from Maduro's personal security forces, many of them Cuban intelligence. Over 80 of them were killed in the raid. They captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife, transported them to New York City. Guantanamo Bay, I think, was a stop also. And they charged Maduro with a number of things, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, and they're currently holding him in New York City. So far, here we are 2 weeks later, it doesn't look like there are going to be any other military strikes. The president said that initially there was a second wave of airstrikes planned, which would have been much more ambitious, wider in scope, more intense. And he said that that second wave was canceled. It was deemed unnecessary. That being said, President Trump announced the morning following the raid that the United States will administer the government of Venezuela directly. And it seems since that announcement, it has been revealed that it will be administered through negotiations with Maduro's second in command, his vice president. And if this vice president, now the newly appointed president, does not accede to the United States demands, then we will go in with further military action. That's where things stand right now. And this is a story from the New York Times about the raid. I'll read it to you. It says, quote, "The United States carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela in which Mr. Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were captured. General Dan Kane, otherwise known as Raising Cane, which I'm not making that up, I guess that's his nickname. General Raising Cane's chairman of it's kind of like a weird meme magic. Because I had a clip from this show go viral talking about Raising Cane's. Did anybody else catch this synchronicity? And then they do a press conference, and I thought I was tripping. But they said, General Raising Cane's is going to tell us more. I was like, did he just say Raising Cane's? Are they watching the show? But I guess that's his nickname. Anyway, General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, said that Mr. Trump ordered the operation late Friday, 2 weeks ago. The mission, which took about 2 hours and 20 minutes, involved 150 aircraft that worked to dismantle Venezuelan air defenses, to clear a path for military helicopters carrying troops to Caracas, the capital city. Nearly 200 special operations forces took part in the raid. U.S. forces encountered significant resistance, said President Trump. At least 80 people were killed, including military personnel and civilians, according to a senior Venezuelan official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe preliminary reports. Cuban state media reported that 32 Cubans were killed in the U.S. attack. President Miguel Diaz-Canel of Cuba said they were from Cuba's armed forces or its interior ministry. No Americans were killed. 2 special operations soldiers who were injured in the raid remain hospitalized but are recovering, said the Pentagon. 5 other service members who suffered injuries in the operation have returned to duty.
Wow, like every time when I hear this, it makes me so proud. And this just proves again that we have the best army of the world. Like seriously, we went into a foreign country, took their president, brought it back home. We had 0 casualties, meanwhile they had 80. And of course, you can agree or disagree with the reason behind this whole raid. That's not important for now. But you can't deny that we have the best army of the world. This is top level. Like seriously, what we did over there is insane, right? Much respect for all the servicemen, for the army. There are so many countries in the world. They are so jealous. They wish that they would be able to do these kind of things. Russia, they're still fighting in Ukraine. They wish that they could do this as well, but they can't. So of course, if you are an American, you should be very proud about like our army or military men. Even if you don't agree with the reason behind it, that's not important for now. What we did over there is like insane, next level, seriously. Much respect for everyone, like the whole army, the servicemen. It's actually crazy. Top level, wow.
So in the first place, we have to say, can I just say, I take immense pride in this operation as an American. And I really don't understand how you can't. Because this is such a sophisticated, such an ambitious, such an awesome exercise.
Here's what's really happening inside your shower head while you're standing there for 30 minutes trying to rinse off. Let me show you what's actually happening inside that shower head while you're
of military force. I really question what kind of person you are. If you can't take pride in it just by itself, forget for a moment about the significance of it, the ramifications, the ideological or moral dimension. Forget about all that for just a second. My first reaction when I saw this, because I woke up in the morning a few hours after it took place, I felt pride as an American. Because no other country can do this. This is a level of joint operations combining Navy, Air Force, Special Forces. No other country on Earth can do anything like this. It's awesome. We parked an aircraft carrier, 20,000 troops off the coast for 6 months. We lit up their boats, lit up their territory, and then like lightning, we went in 2 hours. Air defenses turned off. Internet, literally the lights, the electrical grid turned off. 150 aircraft flying constantly from aircraft carriers to drown out all the sound. We go in, we catch him, we literally pull him out of his bed in his pajamas like a fucking bitch. Do you know how oralist that is? How do you not love that as an American? Because, look, I get some of the arguments against this. You say this is American empire. People say this is unnecessary, this is warmongering, this, that, or the other. At the end,
yeah, they said all these things, but I was interested to see. I didn't watch this clip in its entirety, so I was interested to see what Nick's opinion was going to be on this. It is pretty hilarious watching him, but I'm not surprised that he feels like this at all. Do I think he has the right to feel like this? I do. I think he does. Like, he's proud of what his country did. It doesn't matter if you support what Donald Trump did or not. This is not about if you voted for him or not. He's proud of the way that they went about it. He's proud about how his country handled it. And he's not ashamed to admit that.
At the end of the day, this is a criminal regime. They're literally socialists. People are saying this is a Catholic country. Okay, nominally. But it's a socialist country. It's built on this people's revolution. It's a bunch of corrupt gangsters. The country literally runs on drug trafficking, kidnapping, selling what little oil they can even get out of the ground. It's literally run by brown, criminal, socialist gangsters. And this pissant guy is on TV, I'm talking about Maduro, is saying, come and get me, come and get me. Oh, you're a coward, you'll never do it. Knock, knock, United States of America, bitch. We come in literally in the middle of the night, take the covers off the bed, and we pull him and his wife out of the bed in the middle of the night in their pajamas. She's got a black eye. Just punch his wife for good measure. Like a fucking bitch. Load him up on the helicopter, deliver him to the emperor in a sack. Delivered to Guantanamo Bay and then the Imperial City in a fucking bag for the President of the United States. Kicked, falls out of the bag, looks up. Yeah, that's the President of the world, bro. So, I know that's a little LARPy. I know, maybe people say that's LARPy and performative and all that. I like that. And I have to say, it does reflect something deeper. Because, and this is actually very important and very serious, there are a lot of people in this anti-Israel coalition who are ideological liberals, pro-democracy, pro-pause liberals. There are people in the anti-Israel coalition who are ideologically Muslim theocrats, Orientalists. And it is a matter for them of dogmatic faith politically that they view the past 500 years of European domination as like a crime or a fluke. They hate it. The British Empire, the French Empire, the Russian Empire, the German, Portuguese empires, the Dutch Empire. They view all of that and they hate it. Like on a deep level. They're angry about it. Still, I saw a talk by Jeffrey Sachs, who is one of these liberal Jews. He's on Judge Napolitano every morning. Tucker Carlson glazes him on his show. Jeffrey Sachs worked in the Clinton administration. This guy is like a prototypical liberal globalist. Like a democratic globalist would be his conviction. Those are his ideas. Now, this guy hates Netanyahu, and he is opposed to what Israel is doing in Gaza. And for this reason, he's being welcomed onto Napolitano, Tucker, people in our space follow him. I saw a talk from him last week. He was at some Eurasia summit in Serbia. And he gets up and says, you know, for 500 years, European countries have dominated the globe as if there are no smart or good people in Asia and Latin America. He says, finally, that era of history is coming to an end. Finally, China and India and Africa and all the peoples of the third world are telling the West, no. And the West is going to have to learn to get along. They're going to have to go to the back of the line and take a number at the United Nations.
Yeah, I'm also getting so tired of these kind of people. And like, I have one question. Why are these people living in our country if they are so against us? I seriously don't know this, but that's another discussion for now. What is also very funny, I saw so many people marching the streets protesting for the fact that we helped the Venezuelan people with like capturing their dictator. Many of the Venezuelan people, they didn't even like Maduro. The majority, they hated him. They wanted to have like a regime change. And then we have American people and European people who are living in a first world country, like free, and they're gonna tell those people who live in a dictatorship what they should do and how they should live. What a joke, right? Seriously, the majority of the people, they're so thankful and they are so happy that we did this because they literally hated Maduro as well. And of course, you have a small minority, with a loud voice who will.
And I said that you're going to have a small majority that they're going to be like, where's Maduro at? We want him back because he's our president. They're not just going to appreciate how we went about it. But for the most part, you had a lot of people celebrating. What happened?
Say that they like Maduro, but no, the majority of the people, they didn't like him, they're super happy, and then we have American people marching our streets, tell us that it's not good what we do? Oh my god, bro, what a joke, right?
And this is what a lot of these people believe. And I believe that your reaction to this operation in Venezuela kind of tells you what side you're on from the point of view of identity. One of my favorite heuristics or axioms that I like to say on this show is that we have to learn to take our own side. What does that mean? Who are you? Where were you born? Where were your parents born? What color is your skin? What religion are you? Me? The color of my skin is white. I was born in America. My parents were born in America. 3 out of 4 of my grandparents, their ancestors came from Europe. European domination of the globe is good for me as a Christian, American, mostly European person. Why would I want to vilify my own people? Why would I vilify my ancestors? Why would I look at them not as villains, as the villains of history? Why would I celebrate that our power as Europeans, as Americans, as Christians is diminishing relative to other people? Relative to people who are born in other countries that are not Christian, that have a different complexion, that have a different clan. Why would I celebrate that? Look at the people that carried out the Delta Force operation in Venezuela. They're all white.
This is how my boyfriend listens to music. I can't understand. I got an induction.
Okay, And so I look, there are a lot of these types out there, ideological liberals, socialists, Islamists, and they love to see Western countries, European countries, America, they love to see these countries lose. And they put flags of foreign brown countries in their bio, Burkina Faso, Palestine, Iran, Venezuela. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want America to make an empire for Israel in the Middle East. I want America to make an empire in the world for us, for me, for my posterity, in the tradition of my ancestors. And when I see that kind of exercise of power by the United States, I'm proud that the country that I pay taxes to, the country with the passport that I have, is able to do these things. It makes me feel proud. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel good. And I'm glad. And there's a lot of people out there that are seething because they literally just hate to see America have power. And it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them. It's not every single person that didn't like it, but it's a lot of people that didn't like it. They have a reflexive, anti-American, anti-European view because they have an ideological hang-up. They want to see white Christian countries, ostensibly, historically, nominally, they want to see those countries diminished, and they sort of get off on it. I saw people saying they wanted for Venezuela's S-300 and S-400 Russian air defense systems to shoot down American jets. Like, they were giddy about this, gleeful.
Wait, is this a joke or not? Like, is this seriously? We had people in our country saying these kind of things? They're praying and wishing that our own service members who are also, like, defending you and me, that they're getting attacked, they're waiting for this? Seriously? Sorry, but I don't want people who say these kind of things that they live in my country. Excuse me, maybe I'm wrong on this, but how dare you to say this about our own service members who are literally protecting you and me as well? You're waiting for the day that...
Yeah, I'll never support anything like that. Not being a veteran, you know, like that's kind of crazy. If you're hoping and waiting for your own service members to fail their mission, not be successful in coming back home, that's just dirty work right there. I can't get down with that. That's crazy.
They're getting attacked as well? Seriously? What a joke, right? I don't think it's a good idea if we have people living in our country who literally hate our own military men, who literally hate our own people. Why would you say these kind of things? That's actually insane. Sorry for my little rant, but I don't agree with this. How can you be that evil that you're like wishing that our own service members are getting shot out of the air by the enemy? Like seriously, please explain this to me, but crazy, right? These kind of people...
They said, oh, America's not ready. When we go in, they're going to encounter Venezuelan resistance. They're going to get fed into a meat grinder, guerrilla warfare from who? From socialist brown thugs? And you want that to happen? Why? Because Trump didn't ask Ilhan Omar for permission? Because he didn't go to the United Nations and beg Burundi and the Central African Republic? And I think there's something borderline treasonous about that. I think it's anti-American. It's one thing to say this is an operation that isn't in America's interest. Fine. It's one thing to say there are some concerns about the exercise of executive power, like whatever. But if your instinctual first response is not to take pride in America's capabilities, we were able to pull this off. I just don't really know what kind of person you are. It's kind of epic. I like it. It makes me feel good. I like that America's winning. I like that America's an empire. I like when we do these things. We show the world that we're decisive and bold, capable of swift action. I like it. And so anyway, that is the operation, okay? And we all know what happened at this point. So Trump kidnaps Maduro. Now the question is, to what end? Why did this happen? Who benefits is always the next question. Who loses? And much has been said about why we did this. Let's start first and foremost with the United States government. So like any kinetic action, like any military intervention, any war, the U.S. government gave a pretext, a justification for why we carried out this action. And it's the same justification as all the other operations against Venezuela, the attacks on these alleged drug trafficking dinghies in the Caribbean waters off the coast of Venezuela for apparently the only ground strike against a port in Venezuela, which apparently was trafficking cocaine. The pretext for this entire operation in Venezuela, which goes back many months at this point, is all about drug trafficking. You might remember this from about a year ago. Trump gets in and says that the new problem in Latin America and the Caribbean is what he calls narco-terrorism. That these Latin American countries traffic drugs like fentanyl and cocaine and other things into the United States and our ports across the border. And he takes it a step further. He says this constitutes an act of terrorism. And specifically, he's talking about fentanyl. Why? Because theoretically, you could say that because fentanyl is so deadly at such small doses that it resembles something like a biological or chemical weapon. And so there's an effort made to reclassify fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which theoretically you could make that case. When you see how much fentanyl is required to kill somebody, you wonder why this is not being used in legitimate acts of terrorism or by some sort of state actor, because it's kind of scary. I think legally speaking, though, this is ridiculous. You know, you could argue theoretically that makes sense. I don't think legally that's going to stand. But this is the argument. They say that these countries are trafficking drugs into the United States. It is killing tens of thousands of people. The types of drugs are so deadly and dangerous. This constitutes a form of terrorism.
Well, I don't know how comfortable you are with the state of the world right now, but I did see that crazy viral video of that guy who made it.
This is the pretext to authorize U.S. military force anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. There's been talk about strikes in Mexico, strikes in Colombia, in Venezuela, elsewhere. And they're saying that we get to do this because they're terrorists trafficking drugs into the country. And that's why they bombed the ships. That's why they bombed that port. That's why they kidnapped Maduro. And those are the charges that were brought against him.
Okay, come on, we have to be a little bit honest, right? Do you guys actually believe that this is the reason why we went in there? I don't think so, right? It has everything to do with the oil and with the gold, and as well with the influence of, for example, Russia and Iran. Those are influencing this country, and we don't want our enemies in our backyard. But as well, the gold and the oil, that's the most important. Of course, the drugs is also like a big problem, and it's not good. It's killing our people. That's super bad. I completely agree with everything Nick just said, but that's not the main reason, right? I feel like they're using this as an excuse to invade Venezuela because we need the oil, and I believe that Donald Trump, he wants the oil for now because, as we all know, the midterms are coming, and I think he wants to lower the gas prices so people like they start to like him again. Because if you lower the gas prices, like, yeah, of course, more people they start to like Donald Trump again. This has not everything to do with it, but I hope you get the point. It's just like complete nonsense that we are actually people who believe that we went in there because of the drugs. Because Venezuela, there are bigger countries like surrounding Venezuela who like send way more drugs into our country, and we're not busy with that now. So it's kind of weird. I feel like it has everything to do with the oil, and of course the gold and the influence from our enemies. Because I completely agree, but I just wish the government like they were more openly about this. Or I mean, they did. Donald Trump talked about this as well. But they should just say, yeah, we don't want our enemies in our backyard, and I completely agree with that, and I support that. But to like use this excuse as because of the drugs, no, man. There were like some small dinghies coming to our country with some drugs, and of course, I completely agree. This is not good, and I also wish that they, or I completely agree with the fact that it's good that we stop this. But this is not the main reason to invade a country, right? Because otherwise we should have invaded Mexico as well. But again, you can agree with it, and you can disagree with what happened there. But you can't deny, like, Donald Trump is actually doing the things what he said. And I respect him for that. That he is not like a guy who says a lot and he doesn't act. He actually acts. So, of course, I think we are not done yet.
Now, speaking on this, a lot of people have pointed out that this is basically a phony pretext. That this entire operation and all of the airstrikes which preceded it are a phony pretext to legitimize something the government was already going to do for other reasons. Why? Well, let's start with the fact that Venezuela does not really traffic fentanyl into the United States. The fentanyl is made in China. It's trafficked into the United States through Mexico, almost all of it. So there is no Venezuela fentanyl problem. They say, well, Venezuela traffics cocaine. And that is true. Venezuela is a somewhat major node in the international trafficking of cocaine. But Venezuela traffics almost all the cocaine that is produced or held in their territory in the West to Europe. Most of the cocaine that is moved eastward from Colombia into Venezuela is trafficked out to Europe. Not a lot of it makes its way into the United States. So in terms of a drug problem, this is basically a made-up pretext. This is not real. There is no real Venezuela drug trafficking problem, certainly not with fentanyl. With cocaine, this is embellished and totally exaggerated to the point that it doesn't even make any sense. But this is what they're using, they say, because the Venezuelan regime makes its money off of the trafficking of drugs. They say with these criminal enterprises like the Cult of the Sun and Tren de Aragua, they say that throughout the government, the drug trafficking is embedded in the regime. That members of the regime actually carry on their state functions with the proceeds and revenue from the sale of drugs. So this is how they criminalize the regime, and this is how they legitimize, and in a way then legalize what they're doing, which is bombing the ships, implementing this blockade of Venezuelan trade and oil, and ultimately the capture of Maduro. So that's not really why we did it. That's why the government is saying we did it. That's not really why we did it. I would like to say on this fact, I've seen people like Dave Smith and others who I like. I like Dave. He is a libertarian, for what it's worth. They have said that this makes it an illegal war. And they're mad. They're saying, we were sold this intervention with a lie. Now, and I'm going to try not to be mean here, because I like Dave. But this is just how the world works. This is how all interventions, all wars in the entire history of the world are sold, especially and in particular in the age of mass democracy. In order for a country to do anything, it needs to come up with an excuse. It needs to come up with a reason based in an ideal that goes beyond what is in our self-interest. That being said, every country acts in its self-interest. Every country, its commercial policy, its foreign policy, its security policy, all of a country or a government's policies are based out of self-interest for the regime, if not for the country at large.
Exactly, and this is a very good point Nick makes here. I completely agree with him, but I
was going to say, we know this, right? One thing all regimes have in common is self-preservation.
Also, I don't like that the government or like the Trump administration is lying about this as well. It's about the drugs. It is not. We all know this, but I mean, like, they're always lying about so many things, so I'm not even surprised again. But it is true. It is not about the drugs. It's about the oil, the gold, and we don't want our enemies like so close to our own country, because we all know Venezuela was influenced by Iran, Russia, and I don't even want to know who else. So I completely get it, and maybe this was an excuse, so what? We literally, I feel like it was a good idea that we did this, because now, we don't have our enemy so close to our own country, I hope so. But again, this is my opinion, this is how I feel about it. I'm very curious about your opinion. Like, do you agree with Nick on this one? Do you think it was a good idea?
Check this out. No wires at all. Let me show you real quick. This is my dash cam, see? No cables. I can take it right out of the car and it still works.
Strategic important.
All right, I know you guys see that title. That's NATO's top general giving us warnings, some warnings about China, Russia, how they're ganging up, to start a war. So let's take a listen. I thought this was extremely important.
Sense of urgency. And that sense of urgency is essential. When I look around the globe, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and others are increasing their collaboration and their cooperation as their interests align against us. We see this clearly in Ukraine. While President Trump pushes for a peaceful resolution to a horrible war, China continues to fund Putin's war machine. Iran continues to supply technology and weapons. And North Korean combat troops remain in Russia on Ukraine's border. And of course, there's a confluence between Russia, Iran, and Venezuela and their dark fleet of oil tankers that is helping to fund the war. In the Arctic and the high north, we see a similar trend. Russian and Chinese vessels are conducting more and more joint patrols. Chinese icebreakers and research vessels are in Arctic waters, and their research is not for peaceful purposes. It's to gain a military advantage. Russia, meanwhile, continues testing advanced capabilities in the Barents Sea. As new shipping routes emerge and new resources are discovered, the Arctic only grows in strategic importance. And all of this comes in the midst of an increasing hybrid threat: airspace violations, GPS and GNSS interference, and the shadow fleet in the Baltic Sea threatening underwater infrastructure. In short, the Arctic and Northern Europe by extension has become a front line for strategic competition. Within NATO, Allied Command Operations, the command that SACEUR oversees, has taken steps to strengthen our deterrent posture, much of which is oriented in that northern region, here. Just over a year ago, we established Baltic Sentry, an activity to protect that critical underwater infrastructure. And this past fall, we developed Eastern Sentry to increase our agility and further integrate our air and missile defenses on the eastern flank. More recently, in just the past month, we've realigned the boundaries of our joint commands, and now Joint Force Command Norfolk brings together NATO's activities in the Arctic under one command, allowing us to better defend all allies in Europe, in the Arctic, and the strategic approaches to North America. Allies are also working together closely on Arctic issues. At a recent Arctic Chief of Defense Conference, we agreed to increase our understanding of activity in the Arctic, to enhance our domain awareness, and to increase our own activities and exercises in the high north. In short, military cooperation in this region has never been stronger. Moving forward, we intend to expand our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, to improve our infrastructure and logistics for military mobility, and to strengthen our presence with Arctic-capable forces, many of those forces here in Sweden. With 7 of 8 Arctic nations inside the alliance, the other one being Russia, we will and we can get this right. Now, what's Sweden's role? As our newest ally, Sweden is instrumental. 2 years in, and you have already demonstrated exceptional commitment. You're the framework nation for our forward land forces in Finland. You're filling staff roles throughout my command, especially in critical positions at Joint Force Command in Norfolk. You're the framework nation for our forward land forces in Finland. You're filling staff roles throughout my command, especially in critical positions at Joint Force Command in Norfolk, and our training and assistance command for Ukraine. You've contributed capabilities for operations and our vigilance activities across the entire European continent. You're a model for societal resilience. And Sweden is among the top supporters of Ukraine through the prioritized Ukraine requirements list, the Pearl, and a number of other venues. In short, Sweden is setting an example for all of us, and I truly appreciate your leadership. Now, as you're aware, transforming for the future and strengthening deterrence takes resources, a lot of resources. But while the Defense Investment Pledge at the Hague Summit in 2025 was historic, money alone is not a deterrent. We need the equipment, the weapons, and the munitions to start showing up in our allied military inventories. And this is where Sweden really stands apart. You have an incredibly strong industrial base. And there are steps that we can use across the alliance to learn from your experience. As governments remove barriers to work with defense firms, you're doing that here in Sweden, and we can learn from you. As you build transatlantic partnerships or pan-European partnerships or global partnerships with other like-minded nations, we can learn from you. And as you create opportunities for co-production and co-development, we can learn from Sweden. Sweden's industrial base is already doing these things and demonstrating that it can deliver. Yesterday, I heard the phrase, made with Sweden, in stark contrast to the other phrase that you might have chosen, a more protectionist phrase of made in Sweden. This is fantastic.
You're going to feel your life change forever. Just kidding. One gummy, you're going to feel chill.
All right, shout out to the top leader of NATO breaking some of that down for us. I really wanted to watch the whole entire thing, but I don't want to do it in one setting. So shout out to DRM News. We're going to go to the next clip that they covered 45 minutes ago, and we'll probably go back to that top general sometime tomorrow for the daily live stream. He's covering some good stuff. He's mentioning a lot of stuff that I didn't think about. I really didn't understand how pivotal of a role Sweden played, so he helped me understand a lot more of that. So let's go over to DRM News. Shout out to them.
And mellow, 2 gummies, you'll feel euphoric, but
great numbers introduced today. We had a wonderful speech in front of great people in Detroit, mostly in the car business, and we're setting records in manufacturing. It's going very well. I think people appreciated what I had to say in terms of the numbers. So we're very happy about that. I'm going back to the White House now. We're going to look at the whole situation that's going on in Iran. It's really bad stuff. Minnesota's going to have to take care of itself for a little while. We have tremendous theft and fraud going on in that state because we have an incompetent governor, grossly incompetent governor, and a corrupt governor. But we'll straighten that out. But Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So, and we'll act accordingly.
Will protecting the protest.
Well, you never know, do you? You never know. So far, my track record's been excellent, but you never know.
Something kinetic like that, or more like cyber?
Well, I can't tell you that. I know exactly what it would be. We have to make a decision, but I can't. Obviously, I can't be telling you.
Timeline, yeah, timeline.
Sir, Jamie Dimon said today that it's not a great idea to be chipping away at the Fed's independence. Do you think Jamie Dimon's wrong about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine what I'm doing. We have a bad Fed person. He was extended by Biden, and yeah, I think he's wrong. I think it's wrong. He's done a bad job. We should have lower rates. Jamie Dimon probably wants higher rates. Maybe he makes more money that way.
The House Speaker said that it had negative side effects if it was imposed in Congress.
No, I'm not. I think that people that are paying 28% interest should be protected. We're talking about for a one-year period, but when you have a bank, whether it's Jamie Dimon or anybody else, charging people 28, 32%, 30%, 31%, one case 35%, no, I'll help those people. That's all right. It's a one-year 10%. Let the people have a break. That's right. You'll see. It'll be significant.
On healthcare, is there something that you can do with insurance companies to bring down premiums like you're doing with?
Yeah, I'm going to meet with the insurance companies, but I want the money to go directly to the people. It's very simple. Into a healthcare savings account, but directly to the people, so the people can buy their own healthcare.
Thursday, 6-year anniversary of signing the Phase 1 trade deal with China. Signature.
Some people like the thought of that. Some people hate the thought of it. So, who knows? I mean, some people... Trump has brought this up before, and there really are a lot of people who are like they would prefer that because they don't like being forced to have a certain kind of health care. Even with the choices we have, they still feel like they're being forced, so...
That deal opened Chinese markets to U.S. goods. It protected intellectual property. Can we get back to that?
Yeah, we can. We're doing very well with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, as you obviously know. We're doing really well. We're making a lot of money with China.
Can you open your markets to U.S. goods?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Intel says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it's worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Dude, you can't make this up. This is the type of stuff that President Trump gets my respect for. Literally, this reporter says this, and he says, yeah, okay, that's the Iran said that the last time I blew them up. He just says it like it's just a normal thing, right? He's like, they better behave themselves. Dude, you can't make this up, man. This is how President Trump gets my respect.
Last time I...
U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it's worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Intel stock is really high after you invested. Are you going to invest more in Intel?
Yeah, I like it. So, well, I don't know about Intel, but I'll invest more in other things. So, as you know, Intel came to see me. They needed help. And I said, I'll help you, but I want 10% of your company to go to the United States of America. And we made, because of that deal, tens of billions of dollars. The stock went very up and very high, and we made tens of billions of dollars. They walked away and they gave us a lot of money, but they did a great deal for themselves because their stock has gone up. As soon as we went in, Apple went in, NVIDIA went in, a lot of smart people went in, they followed us. So yeah, we're doing that. We've done other of those deals. In Alaska, we did a deal where we got a big piece of a company where we were helping them to get a road. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we said, we want something out of the company for the United States of America, okay? So I believe in that. We have some other ones that we're looking at. I believe in that. If it's up to us, if they can't do it without us, and then I say, well, we'll do it. If you were a private guy, you'd say, what do we get for doing it? Now, I don't want anything for myself. I want our country to be rich as hell. But with Intel, we made billions and billions of dollars, right? Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem. And I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Hostage rescue effort.
Very soon. Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've billions and billions of dollars, right? Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem. And I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Hostage rescue effort that ended in disaster.
Well, it was a disaster for Jimmy Carter. They had all sorts of problems, and the helicopters were crashing and everything. You know what it was? The exact opposite of Venezuela. Do you agree with that? Do you agree? As a reporter, who are you with?
I'm with the Financial Times, sir.
Oh, good. Well, that's a nice paper.
So are you committing not to sending U.S. troops into Iran.
Why would I tell you that? Why would I don't talk about military strategy with a reporter, you know? Even though I do like the Financial Times.
Are you consulting with our allies regarding Iran? What are they telling you, and why do you think you're...
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what they... Do you think they are? It's only been a couple of days. Well, they said that about Venezuela, too.
Our allies regarding Iran. What are they telling you, and why do you think you're...
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what they... Do you think they are? It's only been a couple of days. Well, they said that about Venezuela, too, you know? It's only been a couple of days. They haven't defied me. They haven't done anything as far as we're concerned. But it looks like they're killing a lot of people, but it has not been confirmed. I'll know very soon. Who said that? Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
Do you want to see democracy in Iran?
Ideally, I'd like to see it, but what we want to see is we don't want to see people killed, and we want to see a little bit of freedom for these people. These people have been living in hell for a long time. You know, that used to be a hell of a country. I have friends that used to invest in Iran, and they did well with their investments. It was a great place. The people were great. Even the leadership was good. And now it's living in hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
Shalom, I'm Rifki Green from Lev Havalam, and I am standing in the
Power march. What are we doing here? We're not the radically people left. This is Coachella. Dance with me. Your life's break is over. You gotta take it. Sky was all purple. There was tear gas everywhere. The rest of that destruction, you know I didn't even care. They say when Trump's out of office, all the ice will be identified. So tonight we're gonna party like we're already melting the ice. Solo!
You want us to call an ambulance for you, buddy?
No.
Are you sure?
You get the shit out your eye.
I'm sorry, brother, that was some gangster shit. I'm sorry that it happened, but goddamn.
They give me the plate carrier?
All right, shout out to President Trump as he went back in the Air Force One and ended that last small press conference he had outside the plane. I love it. He loves the Financial Times, but he still tells the reporter, you know I don't talk strategic warfare with you. I'm not going to tell you that. And then I just shot over to this, shout out to DRM News, because, hey, man, I just had to watch them arrest the giraffe. Like, I was like, man, why they got to go after the giraffe first? It's because he's brown. I know that's why. It's because he's brown. I mean, the other thing, I guess it was a lion, but he didn't have his head on. He was brown, too, but because his head was off, you could tell he was white. They wasn't fucking with the frog. And I was like, oh, wow, they literally went after the giraffe. So it is what it is. Like, I was just like, I said, we're going to end the live stream with a little bit of comedy. And that's what it was. They literally arrested the giraffe. So, yeah, shout out to you guys for hanging out to the end of the live stream. We're going to go ahead and end the live stream here. I will see you all in a couple hours for the next live stream. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Love yourselves. Love one another. Be peaceful. Tell somebody about Jesus today. Peace.